I love you more. I love you most.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to episode 27 of The Decent Wrestling Show. Make sure to like, comment, share and subscribe, and check out my recent MV which I did on Roman Reigns. I'm very proud of it. It's got over 300 views. Definitely go give that a look. It would be much appreciated. I'm also on Twitter at AlfFisher18. If you could also give my friend a follow at Saray4Champ. And he's also on YouTube with the YouTube channel 7. If you could give subscribe to his channel as well. I'll spell that out, S3V3N. And yeah, enjoy the show. NXT 2.0. We opened NXT with a tag team match in the Dusty Classic as MSK, who actually cut a really nice promo to open the show up, took on a Jacket Time. This was a great match, 3 3/4, other than one little botch in the early stages of the match. Other than that, the match was really fast paced, really well done, didn't overstay its welcome, and these two teams killed it in there. I really loved Ikemen and Jiro in this, and MSK are just a phenomenal team. They work so well together. But yeah, Ikemen and Jiro really stood out a little bit in this one, and gave a great performance. But a great match. I gave it 3 3/4. Definitely go check this one out. Great opening match. We then had a street fight as Solo Sikoa took on Boa. Really brutal street fight. They did have some trouble with a garage door in the back, but that's fine. But great brutality. Solo Sikoa looked like an absolute beast in this. This was definitely Boa's best match. I did expect a little more, but still I gave it 3.5 stars, and the ending was really good as Solo Sikoa did a big splash from the top rope to the outside through a table. Brilliant ending, brilliant moment, and great win for Solo Sikoa. He's just absolutely awesome. I love Solo Sikoa. We then had a 6-woman tag as Persia Pirotta, Indy Hartwell and Kaylee Ray took on The Attraction, Toxic Attraction. A really good 6-woman tag. I really love the work of Toxic Attraction together. I think they work at their best as a threesome in the ring. And Persia was great as well, and she picked up the victory, which is good for her. They definitely seem to see big things in Persia, and so do I. She's very talented. And I gave it 3 1/4 stars. A really good 6-woman tag, and continued on the Mandy Rose and Kaylee Ray feud. We had a tag match with Bodhi, I can't remember his last name, but he's teamed up with Andre Chase to take on the grizzled young veterans in the Dusty Classic. And yeah, Andre Chase is great, man.
Did somebody say Andre Chase? No.
He's so funny, and he seems to have been turned to a babyface now, I guess, kind of. But I love his kicks on the floor when he throws out Chase U. He's just very entertaining. Bodhi gave a good performance as well. A lot of energy. They seem to be over with the crowd. Andre Chase is just a really solid comedy mid-carder to lose to everyone else, but be highly entertaining in the process. Good win for grizzled young veterans. Solid match. After the match, Von Wagner returned and beat up Andre Chase and Bodhi. And he is aligned himself with Robert Stone, which is very good because Robert Stone can do the talking now and the emotion, and Von Wagner can be in the ring. Because Von Wagner, he's a good worker. He's very good. He's got a good look about him. But he just lacks the charisma and emotion. So a manager makes perfect sense to help him get over that line. And maybe Robert Stone's charisma will go towards Von Wagner a bit and help him. If not, then he's going to need a manager for his whole career. But, you know, some guys just need that person with them. Like Roderick Strong is the same person. Yeah, he's a great wrestler, but just lacks in the emotion department. We continued on the Duke Hudson and Dante Chen feud. Good fire from Dante Chen. I expect their match will be in either next week or the week after. We also set up next week for Diamond Mine versus Imperium. Oh, hell yes. Io Shirai beat Tiffany Stratton in a solid little match. A good performance from Tiffany Stratton here. And Io picked up the win. Tiffany looked good in defeat. Decent little match. The main event was Cameron Grimes taking on Tony D'Angelo, with the winner taking on Carmelo Hayes at Vengeance Day on February 15th, a TV special on NXT. 3.25 stars, a solid little match. I love Tony D and Cameron Grimes. I think they're both phenomenal performers. There was a little botch with Cameron Grimes messing up a moonsault, but that's fine. Petey Poppins returned and beat up Tony D'Angelo, costing him the match. Cameron Grimes picking up the victory, and he will take on Carmelo Hayes for the North American Championship, which should be an absolute banger. Final segment I want to talk about on NXT is Bron Breakker had a in-ring segment with Legado del Fantasma. Good work from Legado here, and Bron Breakker was absolutely awesome in this. So much fire, so much passion. He just gets better week by week. And I wasn't hugely interested in Bron Escobar, to be honest, but Bron made me interested in it now because that was phenomenal from him. Great fire from him. He beat up Legado del Fantasma, and it was set up a tag match for next week. Bron Breakker and X taking on Legado del Fantasma. And we found out at the end, Bron Breakker was leaving the building. Legado del Fantasma left their car and was about to, attack Bron. Then Tommaso Ciampa shows up to be Bron Breakker's partner. They cut to Ciampa, they pan over to Ciampa, pan back, and Legado del Fantasma are in their car driving away. They go like, nah, we ain't having this. We ain't about that. And they just went. I thought it was really funny. But a great end to NXT and another great episode. Speaking of great stuff, NXT UK was phenomenal. We had 3 really good matches, one outstanding one. So we opened with Gallus taking on D Familia, Teo Man, Charlie Dempsey, and Rohan Raja. 3 3/4. It's just a great 6-man tag. Everyone did their part in this one. Charlie Dempsey is so phenomenal to watch. Teo Man is a great leader, and Rohan Raja, I think he took really most of it. But yeah, really good match, as you'd expect from these two. And I don't think this is over. I think they might have one more match in the future, but if this was the end, it was a great end. Great stuff. We then had a great video package with Ashton Smith and Carter for their next week's match against Jack Styles and Dave Mastiff, which I wasn't hugely interested in, but this promo really made me feel it. I really loved they're telling the story of Dave Mastiff and Ashton Smith. Ashton Smith, because Dave Mastiff's been wrestling for apparently 20 years, and Smith is like, yeah, you taught me everything you know and everything like that, and he knows more now. Smith does, and he's tag team with Carter for 3 years, while Styles and Mastiff are quite new. Just a really good dynamic and a great storytelling from both of them, and I'm excited for the match. Then had a Marley taking on Ginny, which I gave 3 1/4 stars. Solid, hard-hitting matchup. Ginny is a brilliant heel, and she picked up the victory by cheating. But hey, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. It was then announced that next week it will be a Japanese street fight as Blair Davenport takes on Meiko Satomura again in a rematch from their match earlier this year. And hell yeah, I'm down for that, and I think Blair is going to pick up the win here and win the title. But that's going to be an absolute banger. I'm excited for that one. And then, speaking of bangers, the main event for the UK Championship, Ilya Dragunov taking on Jordan Devlin. Now this is how you do a match. This was absolutely outstanding. It was an empty arena match, and everything about this worked. From the action was crazy and brutal. The pacing was well done. The storytelling was great. The selling, especially from Ilya Dragunov, was phenomenal. You could hear their pain and the brutality as the match went on. The storytelling, the character work from both of them was phenomenal. They made use of all of BT Sports Studios. They went all around the ring, all around the ringside area and backstage, and they had an absolute war of a match that could have gone either way at any time. Like, I genuinely thought at moments that Devlin was going to pick up the victory, and then I thought at other moments, oh no, Ilya's going to pick up the win. But then, oh, what if Devlin wins now? Phenomenal stuff from these two. Absolutely brilliant stuff. I absolutely enjoyed every single moment of this, and I don't see this getting topped this year, because I gave this match a rare 5 stars. This was pitch perfect, and it doesn't seem like it's over. There might be a rematch down the line, and I'm all for that. But I don't see how they top this. But if they do, that would be phenomenal. But I don't see how they top this, because this was perfect in every way. Definitely go and check this match out, because this was epic. And I think the empty arena stipulation really helped it as well. It just gave it that different vibe, and just made it more brutal and more real, and more of a fight than a match. And Devlin hit a low blow on Ilya early on, like before the match started, and Ilya sold that for minutes and minutes. He was selling that, even when after he was doing his offense, he was selling that. At one point, he got blinded, and he was selling that he couldn't see. You could hear him tell the ref, "I can't see, I can't see." Just go and watch this match. I can't say enough good things about it. Smackdown opened with Charlotte cutting a decent promo, and then loads, and I mean loads of women came out, including Shayna Baszler, Aaliyah 317, Natty Neidhart, Shotzi, and Sasha Banks made her return before the Rumble, and she's now my pick to win the Rumble. I didn't think she was going to be in it, but if she's going to be in it now, she's definitely winning it to take on Charlotte at WrestleMania. Maybe with Bayley in a triple threat, I don't know. Baszler had a new theme song. It sounded quite cool as well. But yeah, decent opening segment, nothing special. We then had a tag match as Sheamus and Ridge Holland took on Ricochet and Cesaro. 3.5 stars. Really good match. Nice to see Ridge Holland back in the ring. He had a great performance here, throwing Ricochet around like he was nothing, and Cesaro. Just great stuff from all four of these individuals. So happy to see Ridge Holland back, and I'm really enjoying his pairing with Sheamus. They seem to have good chemistry together in and out the ring, so I'm excited to see them continue to team up for the foreseeable future. And Sheamus and Ridge Holland picked up the victory, and they're on a roll at the moment. Naomi and Sonya Deville, my review of this is that it was mid, and I do not care. I mean, Sonya Deville is not a great wrestler, so I don't get the big deal of her coming back. I just don't care. We had Big E and Kofi Kingston. Big E is apparently now on SmackDown full time now. They took on Corbin and Moss, and actually a surprisingly good match. I wasn't expecting much from it, but it was actually a very entertaining match. Gave it 3.25 stars. Just a really good tag match and great wrestling, and I'm happy to see New Day back together. We had In Zane podcast. He's changed it to a podcast now with Jinder Mahal and Shanky. Wasn't a great segment, but Sami Zayn was quite funny. What was better was Sami Zayn on commentary with Pat and Cole. He was phenomenal on commentary as Rick Boogs and Shinsuke Nakamura took on Jinder Mahal and Shanky. It was a fine match, I guess, but Rick Boogs stole the show with absolute insane power, hitting a suplex on Shanky and then hitting his power slam handle finisher on Shanky. Insane stuff. And it's good to see Nakamura back. Apparently he was nursing an injury, but he's back now. Final moment was Reigns and Rollins, their main event segment, and yeah, these two are on an absolute another level. This was a phenomenal segment. I really loved Rollins bringing up all the moments he's had with Roman Reigns, about the WrestleMania 31 moment where he won where Seth cashed in and won the title in Roman Reigns' main event, and the return match in 2016 with the Money in the Bank where Rollins beat Reigns. He said something about a 30-day vacation. I can't really remember. I do know that Roman Reigns was suspended for the wellness policy for 30 days. Was it that event, I think? If he does, that's a nice reference to that. But what I really loved is Seth Rollins bringing up the Shield breakup. Seth Rollins turning the Shield, and Reigns' reaction to that. Like, it's great storytelling, great character work that, he's still upset about that, because why wouldn't he be? That was like their brotherhood for almost 2 years. They were a brotherhood. They were the best faction in wrestling history, up there with New Day and DX, they were one of the best factions in wrestling history. And Seth threw that all away for some corporate suits, basically. He turned on his brother, he sold his soul to the devil. And Reigns is still angry about that, as he should be. Like, you know, they had a brotherhood and he broke it up. And that's just phenomenal storytelling. And then Seth Rollins getting in Roman Reigns' head. You know, Reigns went for a Superman punch, Seth Rollins ducked. Just a really angry Roman Reigns. And I'm so pumped for their match at the Royal Rumble. Excellent final segment. These two never miss. And this was absolutely insanely good. One of my favourite segments of the year. Brilliant feud this has been. Absolute brilliant feud between Reigns and Rollins. Could win feud of the year if their match lives up to their hype. Never know. Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble 2022 happened on January 29th. Hopefully this will be a long line of Saturday pay-per-views, or premium live events as they're called now, as it's much better than a Sunday, especially for European fans like myself. But there was 6 matches that took place at the Royal Rumble. Let's kick off with the opening match, which was Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. Excellent opener. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. I gave this one 4 stars. Ended up being match of the night. Great stuff, as you'd expect from these two. Seth Rollins came out in the old Shield gear to really piss off Roman Reigns. That was really cool, really well done. They had an absolute banger of a match. Went about, I think, 14 or 15 minutes of in-ring time. Seth Rollins hit the stomp at one point, which I genuinely thought was the ending. Great false finish and an amazing last-second kick-out from Roman Reigns there. He's just on another level. Both these guys are, but Roman Reigns is just insanely good. Roman Reigns hit a spear on the outside and then hit one in the ring, but that wasn't enough to pick up the victory. Seth Rollins started laughing at Roman Reigns, which really pissed off Roman Reigns even more. So Reigns got him in a chokehold and choked him out. But Rollins got the ropes, and Reigns didn't let go and continued till the disqualification, which usually would have been a bad thing, but Roman Reigns saved it. He continued to hold on to Rollins till he was completely knocked out. And then, a la the 2014 breakup of the Shield, Roman Reigns got a steel chair and hit Seth Rollins on the back with the chair, and he got nuclear heat from the crowd. Excellent heel work from Roman Reigns. He is just outstanding. And yeah, I can forgive the DQ finish for this one because Roman Reigns being a heel and being a great one at that. Then we had the Women's Royal Rumble, which took place next. And with this one, the 30 Women Royal Rumble opened with Sasha Banks and Melina made an appearance at the Royal Rumble. She got a good pop, and then she got an even bigger pop when she did the splits. She was only in there for about 50 seconds though, because I believe it does look like she fell off the apron prematurely. But unlucky for her. But then Sasha Banks taunted Melina, and great moment from Sasha Banks. Beautiful moment from Sasha Banks. Just saying. Then we had Tamina come in next. No one but meaner than Tamina. Then Kelly, who botched her first move, but she did the stink face, or she wanted to do the stink face as well, but she didn't get to. She only lasted about a minute as well. Aaliyah came out, Aaliyah 317. And then Liv Morgan, who lasted nearly 40 minutes, which was cool to see. Zelina Vega, Bianca Belair, who was the Iron Woman of the match. Dana Brooke, Michelle McCool, who had a long appearance in there. Sonya Deville, who continued her feud with Naomi, as Natalya came out at 12. Then Cameron came out, and then later on Sonya helped eliminate Naomi. Carmella, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair also came out next. Then Ivory made a great return, very funny. She came out with the right sense of gimmick, making fun of Rhea Ripley, and she got eliminated, and she was just really funny on the mic. Brie Mode with her awful theme song came out next. Then Mickie James with her Hardcore Country, her TNA theme song, coming out the Knockouts champion. She actually lasted over 10 minutes, which was cool to see. Alicia Fox made a cool return. That was nice to see her as well. Then Nikki Ash, Summer Rae, Nikki Bella all came out. Then Sarah Logan came out, which was really nice to see. She helped Liv Morgan. I don't know if she's going to be back full time or not, but it was cool to see her for a minute or two. Lita, who was awful, just going to say that. She was absolutely awful. Then Mighty Molly, because Nikki Ash was in there. There can only be one superhero. Then number 28, the winner of the Royal Rumble, Ronda Rousey, made a huge return, got a huge reaction. It sounds like she's going to be a heel as well, which is going to be much better. And yeah, so happy to see Ronda back. And she again, she's a phenomenal wrestler, and she's going to kill it. Now she's back. Final two entrants were Shotzi and Shayna Baszler. Obviously, we got some cool interaction with Shotzi and Ronda, who I hope to see in a singles match one day. But yeah, a decent Rumble. I gave it 3.5 stars. It was the better Rumble of the night. I thought it was pretty decent stuff. Not great, but very good. We then had Becky Lynch and Doudrop have a match. I gave it 3.5 stars. Doudrop's best match in WWE for sure. Just a very good stuff, and Becky Lynch carried her to a very solid match. I didn't think Doudrop had a chance of winning, but in the end, Lynch picked up the victory. We then had the big men slapping meet as Brock Lesnar defended against Bobby Lashley, and this was a lot of fun. I gave it 3 3/4. Great match between these two. They traded German suplexes, some brutal German suplexes where Lashley landed right on his head, it looked like. Just absolute brutal stuff. Lashley hit a couple of spears, then went for one on the outside, but Lesnar moved out of the way, and so Lashley went smashing through the barricade. In the end, however, Roman Reigns came out after the ref was knocked down, and Superman punched Brock Lesnar. He then hit Brock Lesnar with the title belt, which Paul Heyman gave to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns then walked off with Paul Heyman behind him in tow, so it looks like they're back together. Loads of twists and turns. Then Bobby Lashley pinned Brock Lesnar to win the WWE Championship. So insane storytelling, insane a lot of things happening. This was awesome. I really loved the aftermath of this, and the match itself was great as well. And I'm super intrigued to see whether Reigns-Lesnar storyline continues. We then had the mixed tag matches. Edge and Beth Phoenix took on The Miz and Maurice. Very good match, 3.5 stars. Much better than I thought it would be. Really fun stuff. They all worked really hard. Maurice hit an awesome Hurricanrana from jumping off the top rope, which was really cool to see. Edge and Miz were great as well. And yeah, just a very fun tag match. And I thought it was much like the 2017 Rumble, which it was good, and it just kind of was there. It did really pick up near the end for the final few minutes, which I gave it a bump to 3.25 for, but not a great Rumble, sadly. We opened with Styles and Nakamura. Styles ended up lasting the longest in the Rumble, so my picks were both just the Iron Women, Iron people. Austin Theory came out at number 3. Robert Roode, Ridge Holland, Montez Ford, Damian Priest, Sami Zayn, who eliminated Johnny Knoxville, who came in at number 9. Johnny Knoxville actually hit a nice punch on AJ Styles, which was pretty nice. Angelo Dawkins, Omos, Ricochet, Chad Gable, Dominic Mysterio. See how I can just skip through everyone who appeared. No surprises here. Happy Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, Sheamus. Rick Boogs had a nice performance. Madcap Moss, Riddle, who lasted quite a while. Then 21, Drew McIntyre made his return. Early return for Drew McIntyre. Awesome to see him back. He got a huge pop. Very happy to see him. Kevin Owens, Rey Mysterio, Kofi Kingston came out at 24. He was meant to save himself on the barricade, but his feet did touch the floor, so he messed up his spot, sadly. Otis and Big E in next, and then Bad Bunny showed up at 27 and had a solid performance in there, and good stuff from him. Shane McMahon returned at 28. So awesome to see Shane O'Mac back. I'm very happy to see him back. I really popped hard when Shane came out at 28. Randy Orton, the hometown hero, at 29. He only was in there for like a minute though. And then number 30 was Brock Lesnar, who came in clean house, had a face-to-face with Bad Bunny, which was a cool moment. Some cool stuff with Riddle, and then the final two was Brock Lesnar and Drew McIntyre. I was hoping Drew McIntyre would pick out the victory, but Brock Lesnar won. I'm not entirely sold on Brock Lesnar winning. I like Brock, he's killing it right now, but he really didn't need it. Drew could have done with that, and had his moment in front of the fans, but Yeah, I don't hate the finish, and I'll let it pan out. But I thought it was a solid show. I enjoyed my time with it.
My name is Misa Matsui. Delicious. Happy. You are the best. Thank you. I know. Thank you.
Monday Night Raw. A really good episode of Monday Night Raw took place, with one excellent match on this show and a couple other really good matches and great segments. We opened with one of the best segments of the night, Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. Lesnar hot off his Royal Rumble victory. He had a segment with Bobby Lashley, who had an excellent suit, by the way. His suit game was on point. Lesnar wanted a rematch for the WWE Championship right then and right there. And I just want to point out, Brock Lesnar, when did he become so damn good on the mic? This is like a Brock Lesnar he's so good on the mic, like he's amazing. He's so funny and charismatic. Like, where was this Brock Lesnar before? It's insane. He's having so much fun and it's just great to see. So then it was decided that, well, Bobby Lashley is defending his WWE Championship in the Elimination Chamber. And the first competitor announced for it, other than Bobby Lashley, of course, is Brock Lesnar. So instantly, two powerhouses in the Elimination Chamber, and this is Brock's first chamber match that's going to take place on February 19th, again a Saturday. Good in Saudi Arabia. We opened, the first match was Rhea Ripley taking on Nikki Ash. Solid little match, I gave it 2.5 stars. A solid win for Rhea Ripley, as she should be picking up these victories. Yeah, didn't go too long, didn't overstay its welcome, just was there. Solid win for Rhea Ripley, decent stuff. The only other thing I wasn't a huge fan of on this night was the Alexa Bliss therapy stuff. Again, it's just nothing really happening with it. It's just sort of there. It's not like bad or anything. It's just nothing's really happening. So it's just kind of weak. We then randomly had The Miz taking on Dominic Mysterio. So this looks to be The Miz's next feud. Miz was really funny in this. Very charismatic in this, as he faked getting tripped up by Rey Mysterio on an Irish whip, which caused Rey Mysterio to get kicked out, and then Miz picked up the victory over Dominic. So yeah, fun little match, and nice work from The Miz, who is just brilliant. We had the Kevin Owens show with Seth Rollins, where it was announced that Seth Rollins would also be in the Elimination Chamber. He's the third man announced for it. Definitely up in the game. This is some big stars in this chamber match already, even with only half the field. Kevin wanted Seth Rollins to, go backstage and put his spot on the line to get Kevin Owens a spot in the chamber. Seth didn't seem entirely sold on that plan, and it was interrupted by Austin Theory, who was having a Elimination Chamber qualifying match against Kevin Owens, and they had a match. They went about 11 minutes, and yeah, I give it 3 3/4 match of the night, and Austin Theory is really selling himself because, as mentioned in the intro, my friend, he wasn't completely sold on Austin Theory, even after his amazing match with AJ Styles last week, which sold me on him. But this match against Kevin Owens sold him on Austin Theory as well. And yeah, Austin Theory, he's been a great addition to Raw. I was skeptical at first, saying how well he was going to do, but by goodness, he's killing it. He's having banger after banger every week, and hopefully he keeps it up, because this was another great match and a really, really good one, and a big win for Austin Theory, picking up the win over Kevin Owens, meaning he will also be in the chamber match. A huge opportunity for him in there, and hopefully he gets a good shine. He's definitely not winning, but hopefully he gets a good shine, because I definitely see big things for Austin Theory in the future if he continues on this road. We then had a fun little match with the hometown guy, Angelo Dawkins, who is super underrated, by the way. Having a fun little 5-minute match against Dolph Ziggler. I gave it 3 stars. Yeah, they maximised their minutes and had a really good, solid back and forth little match. Angelo Dawkins was on fire in this and picked up the victory, as he should in his hometown. Very good stuff, I enjoyed it. It is then on a digital exclusive Ziggler kind of took shots at Bron Breakker. So it looks like in the next coming weeks we might see Dolph Ziggler and Bron Breakker have a matchup. I would love to see Ziggler on NXT for a few weeks like AJ Styles was. Well, unlike AJ Styles, I'd like to see him have a couple of matches, like 2 or 3 matches against some other guys, maybe beat them and then lose to Bron Breakker. You know what I mean? Beat 1 or 2 guys, give him a good shine though, and then lose to Bron Breakker, really cementing him and putting him over. But that could be fun. We had the scooter race segment with Riddle with sans Randy Orton, who was not here tonight. Also, Bobby Roode wasn't there with Ziggler. But no Randy Orton. But Otis helped Gable pick up the victory in the scooter race. I did really find the ending funny with Chad Gable just being very, very smug with his victory. Riddle was not happy and wanted to fight Otis. So that set up that match, and it became an Elimination Chamber qualifying match. And thank goodness Riddle picked up the victory. 3.25 stars, a solid match. Riddle was excellent with his selling, and Otis was just absolutely destroying him with great power moves. And then Riddle had a great babyface fire comeback and picked up the victory. And yeah, I actually really enjoyed this match, much better than I thought it would be. 3.25 stars, and Riddle's in the chamber, making it an even better match. So what a stacked chamber. Bianca Belair beat Carmella in a couple of minutes. It was fine, and an easy win for Bianca Belair, as she should be continuing to win. Hopefully she gets a WrestleMania match. AJ Styles took on Rey Mysterio in the final qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber. I gave it 3.5 stars. Just a very good match between 2 absolute legends in the business. Very smooth work and great reversals of a lot of things. Didn't entirely hit like the top level, and it's much slower than you'd expect from these 2, but still a very good match. And AJ Styles picked up the win with a really nice finish with the Styles Clash, and he's also going to be in the chamber match, making this an absolute stacked chamber match. Lashley, Lesnar, Theory, Rollins, Riddle and Styles. The final segment on Monday Night Raw was Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey's final promo to end the segment. It wasn't announced. Ronda Rousey's WrestleMania opponent was not announced. I will say earlier Lesnar announced he would face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, but this one was not announced, but Rousey will give her answer on Friday. Solid final segment from both Becky and Ronda, and then out of nowhere Lita came out and challenged Becky Lynch for a match at Elimination Chamber. Now, Lita had an awful performance at Royal Rumble. Hopefully she works hard and pulls out a great performance at Elimination Chamber against Becky, and if anyone can pull up someone, it's going to be Becky. But not entirely sold on Lita wrestling a singles match, but it was still cool to see her, and maybe they had some smoke and mirrors and it would be good. But yeah, this was a really good episode of Monday Night Raw, and I really enjoyed it. Stardom. So I'm going to talk about the pay-per-view and also the end of the 23rd of January show, which was the 11th launching anniversary show. So I talked about Inagi and Momokogo's good match last week, but also there was other matches that took place, which was Tekla, Mina, Shirakawa and Waka Tsukiyama. We got to see sexy Waka. Sexy which was very cool, and Mina speaking English, which is always nice. It was a fun match, gave it 3.25 stars, although Tekla was cringy as always. But Waka and Mina saved it with their hilarity. Next match I want to talk about is Mai Sakurai taking on Tam Nakano. I gave it 3.5 stars. It was actually a very good match. Mai Sakurai's best performance. Unfortunately, Tam and Mai were apparently injured in this at some point, so they weren't on the pay-per-view, and I don't know when they'll be back. Waka also was off the pay-per-view after her match against Mina and Tekla. No notes given on why they were out, but they are out. And then the only other match that I enjoyed was the main event, Julia and Mirai taking on Mike and Shuri. 3.5 stars. It was a great match, but went on way too long, but still ended up being very good. But let's talk about the pay-per-view. Stardom Nagoya Supreme Fight, taking place on the 29th of January in front of over 1,300 people. It was a great show, in my opinion. The pre-show Battle Royal, which I have not watched as of recording, saw Momo Kogo pick up the victory against Death, Rina Ruaka and Seki Kashima. So Ueda Tai had a 4-on-1 advantage and still lost. What losers? The opening match on the main show was Hanan defending her Future of Stardom Championship against Lady C. They only got about 6 minutes, but they worked hard in those 6 minutes and had a 3¼ star match. Had a pretty decent match between them. Solid stuff between them. Yeah, good first defense for Hanan. I expect her to have a decent title reign. Her next defense was against Momo Kogo. I expect her to retain there. No point giving Kogo the belt, considering her 3rd anniversary is in April. The next match was Utami Hayashishita teaming up with Izumi to take on Starlight Kid and Momo Watanabe. Went about 10 minutes and was a pretty decent match. I gave it 3¼ stars. It was a very good match, but it was ruined by the ending with Ueda Tai. Just didn't need all that interference. But a nice short sprint, good stuff. And nice to see Starlight Kid pick up the victory, and she hit a couple of new moves, including, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, maybe I'm completely misremembering this, but I'm pretty sure she hit a Spanish fly off the top rope for the victory, which was cool. But Starlight Kid had a great performance in there and was the MVP of the match, in my opinion. We then had a 3¼ star match again, as Tekla took on Mina Shirakawa for the SWA Championship. They got about 10 minutes as well. Mina carried job. Mina was brilliant in this, and Tekla is still cringe. Unfortunately, Tekla won, and in my opinion, Mina deserves so much better than this crap. She deserves way better than this, and she's probably not going to have another title match this year, because, as we know, in Cosmic Angels, only Tam and Unagi get title shots, and Mina gets left out of everything, which is just sad to see. Mina deserves way much better. Next up was a great match as FWC, Hazuki and Koguma defended their belts against Mika and Himeka. 4 stars, phenomenal match. I absolutely love Himeka and Koguma's chemistry in the ring with each other, especially when Himeka absolutely kills Koguma with a clothesline, and Koguma is cute as hell, by the way. And I really love her bear stuff early on in the match with Himeka and Mika. Really funny stuff with Koguma. She's just an absolute joy to watch perform and becoming one of my favourites. Hazuki was phenomenal in this as well, and yeah, Hazuki and Koguma work excellently as a team. This is the best role for Hazuki at the moment while she continues to get readjusted with wrestling after a long time out. And yeah, great stuff from Hazuki and Koguma. Great match, definitely check this one out, 4 stars. Then we had the Wonder of Stardom Championship match, which I also gave 4 stars. Saya Kamitani took on Unagi Sayaka and beat her. With a botched Phoenix Splash where her knees went on, landed on Unagi instead of her stomach. They went about 19 minutes though. Definitely probably the weakest of the 3 matches that Saya and Unagi have had, in my opinion. It felt like they were going to try and be too epic, and it didn't quite connect. But the final, I would say 5 or 6 minutes were really well done and really good stuff. And Unagi hit her splash, which was cool to see. I don't believe she hit her finisher, but Saya Kamitani hit the Star Crusher, which Unagi just kicked out of, so she got a good showing, did Unagi, and got a good kick out in it. And it was still a great match, and still worth checking out. Maybe could have gone a couple of minutes shorter, but still great stuff. Then we had the semi-final and match of the night by some margin. Julia taking on Mai Iwatani, which I gave 4 3/4. This was almost perfect. They went 30 minutes, went to a time limit draw, but I have no issue with the draw. I'm fine with that. I get why they did it. It wasn't planned. They need 2 opponents. I don't see why anyone was mad about a draw with Julia and Mayu. It had to go to a draw because it wouldn't have made sense because Tam wasn't in the match anymore. So I don't get the anger about that. It's out of their control. They had to do it. But the issue with it was there was a couple of no-sells in it. Now, Julia's selling was phenomenal, by the way. She did a really nice oversell on a top rope dropkick, which was really cool. And they had some great back and forth action. Julia's offense was phenomenal. Mayu's selling of her arm was great. Great work from Julia on the arm as well. So that was really awesome and well done. Great near falls. Didn't go too over the top with the near falls, but was an excellent match. The only issue was there was like Julia did like a brainbuster sort of suplex, and then Mayu just like rolled up Julia for a pin. Didn't quite like that, and there was a couple moments like that near the end where Mayu didn't sell some stuff, and it was a bit annoying. The only no-sell part I liked was they both hit like 2 Germans on each other, and they were both back up and then both like fell down because they were both injured. That was okay. See, that's okay when you do that, when you no-sell for a little bit, but then it catches up to you. But Mayu didn't do that later in the match. She just no-sold a couple of things, and it was quite a bit iffy. I knocked off quarter star for that. But other than that, it was perfect, so I gave it 4 3/4. The main event was Syuri and Mirai. I gave this one 4 1/4 stars. I thought this was a wonderful match and much better than it had any right to be. I'll hold my hands up. I believed Mirai was going to put in a bad performance. I didn't think she could hang in there in a long form main event, but she proved me wrong, and she proved all the doubters wrong, including me. It went a little too long. It went 27 minutes. They could have cut 6 or 7 minutes from it, to be honest, and it would have still been brilliant and probably even better. So it definitely was a bit long-winded. But Mirai gave the performance of her career against Syuri. Of course, Syuri won, as you'd expect. But Mirai busted out a bunch of new moves that I've not seen her hit before. Really cool to see her expand her moveset. And her lariats are bloody brutal. And yeah, she actually didn't quite make me believe she was going to win. Like, we all knew Syuri was going to win. But didn't quite make me believe she was going to win. She wasn't that good to make me think she was going to win, but she was almost there. Definitely has a bright future ahead of her. A little bit more seasoning, just a couple more months more of some seasoning, and Mirai will be up there as one of the best wrestlers in Stardom. She's definitely got it, and yeah, she proved a lot of people wrong with this performance. Wonderful performance from her, and definitely a great match, and second best match of the night. If Julia and Mayu didn't happen, it would have been match of the night, but unfortunately, Julia and Mayu do exist, unfortunately for Mirai, because they had an absolute show-stealing performance. And yeah, Julia's fucking phenomenal, isn't she? The only big downside of this show, which really pissed me off, to be honest, I know a lot of people like it, but I don't give a shit, was Prominence showing up, for fuck's sake. Honestly, just stop infecting promotions with your shitty death matches. You can't wrestle anymore. Piss off. Suzu Suzuki, you used to be great. You used to have talent. Then you did your deathmatch crap for a year. You came back to doing normal wrestling, and you were nowhere near as good as you used to be. And please just get out of Stardom. I don't want to see you here. Fuck off. Take your death matches and piss off to the indies when I don't have to watch you. Go away. Go away with your over the top, oh, we're so edgy sort of shtick. You're not. Piss off. Don't like you. Go away. TJPW. TJPW news. On the 29th of January, they held a show. It was a pretty fun show. I skipped the opener, which was Yuka and Kiryu. Don't really care about Yuka. The next was a 6-woman tag. Misawa, Marika, and Shoko defeated Endo, Kaya, and Suzume in a pretty fun tag match. Pretty fun 6-woman tag. I gave it 3 1/4 stars. Solid match. Nothing really much to talk about, but just really good action, and they all got a lot of time. The next was a 3 1/2 star match, a very good match, a really funny match between Pom, Harajuku, Nao Kakata, and Mizuki. A very funny moment where Pom was wearing some sort of shirt that Mizuki then took off and threw at the ropes, and then it just fell off the ropes, and she just looked down at it fall, and I just thought that was quite funny. But these three worked really well together and had a nice wrestling and comedy performance, and yeah, very fun and entertaining. Very TJPW match that was. Then we had Maki Ito and Miyu Yamashita with their awful team name 1 to a Million, taking on the Cat and Hikari Noah. So Harun Neko and Hikari Noah. They actually got a lot of time. They got 12 minutes to have a match. It was a bit botchy at times, especially from Miyu Yamashita, who had a pretty poor performance in my opinion on this night. Just a bad night for her. But Neko was really fun in this one. But everything else was solid, and yeah, it was a decent match. I gave it 3 1/4 stars as well. Good stuff. If a little iffy at times. The semi-final was another 3 1/2 star match, a very good match, as Idol Os, Moka Miyamoto and Yuki Arai did not were not able to defeat Hakuchamu of Miyu Watanabe and Rika Tatsumi, who go to the finals on the 11th of February. Yeah, very good match. Great performance from all four here together. Moku and Arai are much better than they have any right to be already, and I love the team of Miyu and Rika together. So overall, I really enjoyed this match, and they got a lot of time. Maybe they could have shaved off a couple of minutes, but yeah, still a very good match. Then the main event was the other semi-final, which was Venue, Asuka and Kamyu taking on the Bakuretsu sisters. Surprisingly, the Bakuretsu sisters won. I gave it 3 3/4. I'm not happy with Venue being eliminated. I guess Nodoka's getting one last little run. I mean, she's retiring next month. This is her last run. But Kamyu was pinned, obviously. Venue's not going to be pinned. It was still a great match, though. As you'd expect from these four, all great performers. Even if I'm not the biggest Yuki Aina fan, she's a great wrestler. She's just a bit boring around the edges. She is starting to slowly grow on me, though. But Venue are amazing as well. There's just so much elegance and beauty in them. I just love their entrance so much. And Venue's a phenomenal performer in between the ropes. And yeah, great match. Definitely worth checking out that one. Other thing about TJPW, they really need to grow their roster. They need to add a few more people to their roster. Look at the AWG alumni. Pick up some of them. They need it. Because I can just feel it getting stale, and they just need that injection of energy, of which would be 3 or 4 new people onto the roster, which will really give them that energy for the next year or so. Considering they've lost people, and I think they're probably going to lose more eventually, they really need to up their game on their signing and invest in TJPW. The 11th of February Kurikan Hall card for TJPW was announced, and it's not great, but it's not bad either. It's pretty solid. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's much better than their recent ones. You got Moka Miyamoto and Arisu Endo, which I expected, and that's going to be a really good match. I think they're going to blow expectations away. Suzume and Yuki Arai, which also could be a really good match. I don't know, actually, and it's unpredictable. I actually don't know who can win that one. Both those matches are unpredictable. So that's really good for a good step forward with those two matches. They could both be really good. There'll be the Bakuretsu sisters taking Hakuchamu in the final of the Futari No Princess Max Heart tournament. With the winners, I assume, taking on Majirabi on the 19th of March. I'm expecting Hakuchamu have to win. You can't have Bakuretsu sisters win. That makes it way too predictable on the 19th of March, considering that's Nodoka's last show. The other matches, there is 4 other matches. Now Kakata, Misawa and Kiryu taking on the Catbird and Veni. Yes, Neko, Karuna Neko, Kaya Torobami and Veni. What a weird team. Should be a pretty fun match. Veni and Kakata again, which will be really fun, and Veni and Misawa are going to have some fun. I hope Veni becomes a regular part of TJPW's big shows, because that would be really cool to see, because Veni is phenomenal. The other matches are Miyu, Marika and Noah taking on Shoko and Majirabi. Meh. The Neo Bishiki are back, and they're taking on Raku and Pom. Not the greatest opponents to return to, but still should be pretty funny. And then I assume the main event will be for the International Princess Championship. It is Maki Ito taking on Yuki Kamifuku. I think it's guaranteed Maki Ito will win this one. I don't know why they're doing it now. I thought they were going to save it for March, but they're doing it now. It should be an absolute banger of a match, though, so I'm not going to complain about that. But I'm not happy with Camu taking another loss. I think she should be champion by the end of the year, and that being Princess of Princess champion. But hey, she's in a big main event, so that should be a fun one. Yeah, it looks like a decent show. Thank you for listening to the Decent Wrestling Show. Again, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and put in the comments below if you watched the whole thing, or just message me on Twitter or something if you watched and want to talk about it. Okay, thank you, and bye.
Thank you, everyone, for watching.